in business or in any relationship that you have, you must remain positive. You must have an open line of communication. It's got to be a two-way street, and just making sure that the person that you're speaking with or the person that you're in a relationship with, that you understand their needs and wants, and you can't just do a blanket leadership. You can't throw a blanket over, like take the 1,100 employees that I have here. I can't treat them all the same. I have to be able to know Sally from Stephen, from Johnny, through Betty, and provide an individualized approach, because everyone is motivated differently, right? Sometimes people are excited and motivated by money. Sometimes they're competitive. Sometimes it's strong discipline. People are motivated by different things. So an individualized approach is how I've gotten to become so successful. The year before I left the Bonaventure, the World Cup was in Los Angeles. And I was the convention services guy doing a lot of parties and that year it was Italy against Brazil for Colgate, Fujifilm of Italy and Brazil, and Coca-Cola. So I was doing all these parties, and I was connected with a party planner in the city who, after the World Cup, called me to say, I really want to thank you, Donald. I did parties all over the city, and by far you were the best convention services manager that I dealt with. Timely, positive, honest. I want to take you out to lunch to say thank you. And I was like, me? So I went on a 3-hour lunch, martinis and all. I'm now like 26 years old. I had never been in a 3-hour martini lunch in my life. And this woman said, you were amazing and you should work for Ritz-Carlton. And I said, me? I don't really know what luxury is. She says, it doesn't matter. You are luxury the way you treat people.
Wow. How did that make you feel?
Incredible. Like I could do it. That was the confidence I needed to go forward.
Isn't it amazing when someone tells you something like that? You have this.
You have it, and it's like looking yourself in the mirror and going, really? But I said, okay, I'm gonna go for it. And so I called the Ritz. It was in Pasadena at the time, which is just north of Los Angeles, and it was for a wedding manager. And I said to the director at the time, his name was Ted Sikowski, and we're still friends today. I said, Ted, I appreciate it. I said, but brides and their mothers, I'm sure they're lovely people. They're just not who I want to deal with, or I don't have that experience. I'm a corporate guy, right? And I said, so if you had a convention guy or a corporate position available, I'd be knocking down your door today, but I'm going to appreciate it, but I'm going to pass because I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. And he said, oh, I appreciate your honesty. I like your spunk. He goes, I'll see what we have available within the company. I said, well, that would be great. And 3 or 4 days later, I get a call from the Ritz-Carlton, Rancho Mirage, California, in the desert. And they said, we have a corporate position available. We'd love to interview you. So I drove out there for the weekend. I interviewed and got the position as the assistant director of convention services with Ritz-Carlton. And I had a super healthy, tremendous career for 15 years with them.
And how old were you at this time?
28 years old.
That's pretty amazing for somebody at 28 to know, I won't be good at this.
Right.
I want to shine, this isn't it. A lot of people don't know themselves enough. Or maybe you just knew mothers enough. You've seen enough of that.
Yeah, I've seen enough of that. Yeah, that's a good point. But I knew at that time what I was really good at, and I wanted to make sure. And that's when you were with, and you're trying to lead people. Don't you really focus on the people and their strengths? And I was really just doing that to myself. But maybe I didn't realize that at the time. But I was just focusing. I knew what I was good at, and I knew I was great at relationships, and I was good at the corporate world. And so that's where I wanted to go, and that was my focus. Because down the line, I ended up doing weddings for Ritz-Carlton, believe it or not. And I was good at that too eventually, but I guess I needed to mature a little bit before I got there. Yeah.
So that's a really good point about strengths, focusing on strengths.
Mm-hmm.
How has that played into how you lead?
Well, I said before, is the individualized approach. I take a look at each of my leaders and I find out what they're good at and what they're being good at, how you can motivate them to even make them better. And I just focus on that as an individualized approach. Like I know, for example, my general manager, Mary, she's extremely good at operations. So anything that we do in the resort operationally focused, I totally back off and let her do it all. Because that makes her excited. She wants that control. She's good at it. She loves to delegate and then report back. So I just give that to her. If I need something done that is a little bit more structured, or a little bit more organized, I turn to my director of human resources, and her name is Bonnie Savala. And she's extremely, everything is lined up, and she's perfect at that. So I know I can do that to her. So I think it's about delegating to their strengths. And you don't learn that early on in your life. I think you probably stub your knees and scrape your nose a little bit by falling down. But once you learn that and you mature enough to understand that, you're not losing control. You're actually gaining control by allowing others to do it. And that took a while for me to learn. In the beginning, before I allowed to trust anyone else, I had to do everything myself. So I was working like 90 hours a week. But I had total control, and I was good, and this is my meeting, and but I was immature in that position at that time. But as you grow and you learn, and you thought, oh, well, let me just give this one thing to Sally, and this one thing to Johnny, or this one thing to Alfredo. Oh, gosh, now that makes it easier for me. And you're making them happy because you're trusting those individuals to do the work on behalf not of me. As a conference services manager, I was only just the face of the customer. Instead of having the meeting planner talk to the chef and the setup guy and the rooms guy and the reservation guy and da-da-da-da, that's what my job was. But pushing off some work to them to allow them to have that autonomy and that excitement to do the work on behalf of the customer, not Donald. It made them feel good. And so it was much easier on me. And once I learned that, I was like, maybe I need to learn to delegate a little bit more. And so each year as I matured, I learned to delegate. Not that I'm a slacker and pushing off my work on other people, but trusting them and verifying their work. Also very important, to trust yet verify.
Trust yet verify. Expand on that a little bit.
Trust yet verify. Well, in my leadership style, a big quote that I say to all of my leaders is that every customer must experience an interaction, not a transaction. And there's a big difference there between a transaction and an interaction. Yeah? So I want to make sure that I engage and interact with my leaders, and I trust them to do the job in which they need to do versus micromanaging them. Because at the end of the day, does anyone really like to be micromanaged? No, they don't. You hire someone with the smarts and the capacity to do the job in which he or she was hired for. So in my leadership style, I like to trust all of my associates, but I have to verify that they're doing what's right, because they try to pull the wool over your eyes, or you could lose a big account or whatever, but giving them enough rope to do what they need to do, but just reel them in a little bit and verify, but really letting them know that you trust them.
So how does that verification piece work? And I don't know if that comes down to performance reviews and...
Yeah, I think it's as frequently and as honest as possible. I have found that if you wait until the performance review to tell them that they did something wrong 6 or 8 months ago, doesn't make them feel good, and it's a bad reflection on me. So it's about feedback and making sure that you give that feedback right away and instantaneously. Like, look, Deb, you did this really, really well, and I loved A, B, and C. D, E, and F could have been done this way, and if you would have tweaked it that way, we could have saved money, we could have made the customer happier, whatever the situation is. But I think feedback is a gift, whether that is constructive feedback or positive feedback. It has to be viewed as a gift. And when customers are telling me that we made a mistake, that's one of the first things out of my mouth. I appreciate you telling me that we made a mistake, because I do view it as a gift. If I don't know about it, I cannot fix it. So allow me the opportunity to now go on a diagnostic journey and search upstream and find the root cause so this doesn't happen to you or anybody else in the future. So trust and verify.
So you talked a little while ago about motivating people and letting them do what they're good at, finding their strengths, and everybody's different. The verification process, do you find there's a difference in how you do that with different people?
Wow, good, great question. Yes. Again, individualized approach. Some people don't want to have anything done in public. most people want it done in private. So another thing I always like to say to people is make sure that all your leaders that you support publicly and you defend privately, right? So going back to the verification process, I have one-on-ones with all of my leaders weekly or bi-weekly based on their tenure and their position and how comfortable we both are in what they're doing. So we always talk about what's on their agenda for the following week, what's on their agenda for the upcoming week, how can I help them, and if they do something at that time when they're presenting to me, we review and then I verify at that potential moment. So it's within days of a project being done. Never wait, but always an individualized approach, one-on-one in my office.
Somewhere along the line, worked for somebody who didn't have that same feeling about leadership. How have you dealt with situations like that?
Well, there's one leader I can remember, like it was yesterday, working for a separate hotel company, that everything he taught me was what not to do. I don't think he taught me anything what to do in the 3 years I was with him. And I go back to my initial learning as a child, that it's only 20% what he does to you, it's 80% how I react to it. So I chose to remain positive and to deflect his negativity with my positivity. And he knew he could never crack me. And I was his number 2. I was really the GM of this property, and it was voted the best resort in the country. And I know you know which one I'm talking about. And his leadership style was toxic. And the turnover in that resort was overwhelming because of his leadership style. And then the years that I was there, the turnover reduced because I then became the filter between him and the rest of the associates. And that was the year that we won by Condé Nast, the #1 resort in the country. And so I have worked with those individuals that don't see eye to eye. Again, I treat them with the same respect and dignity that I would treat someone that has and shares the same values as I do. I find out a way what motivates them, and I work them as an individual, not as a group of people. And I just became the filter between him and the rest of the associates in that resort. And I said it before, without risk, there's no reward. So don't ever be afraid of your dreams. And, I always this is something else I always say to all my leaders, and I know that my chef repeats it back to me today all the time. He's like, my head's always above the clouds, sir. And I said, that's right. You know why? He's like, why? I say, because it's always sunny up there. Right? If your heads are below the clouds, you got rainstorms and wind and all that other stuff, but keep your head up above the clouds. It's always sunny and beautiful up there. So just keep moving forward.